Welcome to the 38th monthly TAC members only guitar party. I'm so pumped you're here because today is full of awesome stuff. We're going to do a workshop on saddles, nuts, and pins. I'm going to give away a guitar. I've got 3 or 4 crucial announcements, and I want to show you something that you might have missed last week. And of course, I'll be answering your gear and really any guitar questions you may have. All that and more right after this. My name is Tony Policastro. I'm part of an underground group of acoustic guitar enthusiasts you've probably never heard of. We're not here to play face-melting guitar solos or judge other guitar players. Our purpose is much greater than that. For us, it's about expanding our quality of life through music and having fun with our guitar, not just mastering it. Getting better at guitar is proof that we do have what it takes to be a guitar player, which means we can build stronger bonds with friends and create lasting musical family traditions. But if you asked a guitar snob or a music academic, they would turn up their nose and say their way is better. Yet this way of seeing the guitar is changing lives every single day. We follow a specific framework and set of values that keeps us focused on what matters most: human connection, constant progress, and fun. It's happening, and we call it living the acoustic life. This is our acoustic life, and these are our stories.
And
welcome to the 38th live TAC members only guitar party. There's so much stuff I have for you today. I was just taking notes because I keep having random thoughts and I got to put them somewhere. So welcome, thank you for being here. I am so just fabulously joined by both Noah Jacob Heckman Jr. the first, and of course Levi Coela, the man with the technical plan.
Morning,
over
Tony.
there.
Morning.
Good morning. Good morning to you guys. Cheers to the both of you.
Good morning. Morning.
Yeah. I'm excited to be here today. I'm excited you're here today because what I want to talk about today, what's on my agenda, my note sheets, is I want to talk about guitar saddles, nuts, and pins. And I want to talk about the materials, the pros and cons of various materials. I want to talk about them being kind of a grounds for experimentation on your guitar. And I also just kind of want to shed a little bit of light on these are crucial parts of the guitar that I think can often be overlooked. So with that being said, let me just dive right into the workshop portion. And first, what I'd like to do is define what the guitar nut is, the saddle, and the pins are, just so that we're all on the same page. Some of you may be familiar with this already, some of you might not, but regardless of where you're at, let's all get on the same page right now. So I'm going to grab my faithful GS Mini here, which I have important news about later on in today's guitar party. But first, let's take a look at what we have here. Up here on the headstock, where the strings cross, that is the guitar's nut. Down here, where the strings cross over the body, that's the saddle. And then what anchors the strings into the body of the guitar are indeed the bridge pins. So that's what we're dealing with today. The guitar nut, the saddle, and the pins, of course. And why are they so important? Well, first let me say this. These are probably, if not, the most critical pieces of your guitar. But why? They seem so small, they seem so inconsequential. Well, if you look at the guitar nut and the saddle and the pins, we'll lump them all together, that's actually what couples the strings to the guitar. Meaning that's what's responsible for the transmission of vibration from the string to the body of the guitar, hence resonating the guitar body, hence producing amazing, beautiful acoustic guitar tone. So without the guitar nut, without the guitar saddle, without the bridge pins, our strings can't transmit their vibration to the top of the guitar, which would essentially leave us in a real bad spot because our guitars would be making no sound whatsoever. So that's why they're so darn important, and it seems ironic because they're such small pieces. The guitar nut is about 1 inch and 11/16 to 1 inch and 7/8 at its biggest length, or width rather. I should say 2 inches for include the classical guitars as well. The saddle's not very big, and the bridge pins, well, those are tiny. In fact, oftentimes lose those when I'm changing strings. But they play such a crucial role. And because they play such a crucial role, what they're made of is incredibly important. And I get questions all the time. Hey Tony, should I change my bridge pins to a different material? Hey Tony, my guitar came with a plastic nut. Should I upgrade it to a bone nut or a tusk nut or a fossilized ivory nut? And my answers really differ to all of those questions because it really depends on the musical situation and really what kind of tone you want to pull out of your guitar. And I say this to kind of preface this workshop because what I'm going to do today is kind of give you my philosophy on these crucial pieces of the guitar so that you can go make an educated choice, so that you can go about experimenting on your guitar in an educated fashion. Because therein lies the power, really. If you have the knowledge, it's like the G.I. Joe thing, isn't it, Noah? Knowing is half the battle. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. The knowledge is crucial because then, again, you can make an educated guess as to how to upgrade your bridge pins, how to upgrade the guitar's nut, how to upgrade the saddle. So let's talk about material because all of these pieces come in different materials. And I'm going to start with I'll say my personal least favorite and then move to my favorite. So we can get guitar nuts and saddles made out of plastic, synthetic material called tusk, T-U-S-Q. You can get it made out of mother of pearl. You can get it made out of bone. You can get it made out of fossilized ivory. I got another one written down. You can get them made out of ebony as well. And the bridge pins also come in a bunch of different materials, and they're pretty much the same. You can get them plastic, tusk, bone, mother of pearl, or fossilized ivory, or ebony. So pretty much across the board, all of these little pieces of the guitar come in different materials. So why would you pick one material over the other? Well, let's go back and think about how these pieces function. Their main goal is to transmit vibration from the strings to the guitar. The nut, the saddle, the pins, they all play a crucial role. So their material will impact how that vibration from the string is transmitted to the guitar. So what we're looking for is a consistent material, meaning, you know, if you're going to get a guitar nut, that from one end of the nut to the other, the material is relatively consistent. It doesn't have holes, it doesn't have splotches, it doesn't have parts where it's really dense and parts where it's really porous. And we also want a material that readily transmits sound. So this is crucial, and I just want to put those two criteria out there. It needs to be uniform, and it needs to readily transmit vibration. And you may buy a guitar, and it comes with a plastic nut, plastic saddle, plastic pins. Well, that material is not horrible, but it's certainly not the best, because if you think of plastic can actually, it's pretty, it's an absorbative material, meaning it's not very hard, it's not very dense. It actually does more absorbing of the sound than it does transmitting of the sound. So plastic, being that it is an absorbative material, it actually will diminish the sound. Whereas if you move to, say, a bone nut, which is a much harder, more dense material, it transmits the sound much cleaner. And I'm going to give you an example, and children, cover your ears. So when you go to the dentist and you get any dental work done, and if there's a drill involved, even if you're numb, generally speaking, you can hear the drill at work. Mainly because it's next to your ear, but even through your jaw, I know this is getting graphic, you can actually hear it, and your jaw is a bone. It's made of bone. It transmits vibration actually really well. That's why we hear the dental work so well when we're getting a filling or, you know, whatever dental procedure may be happening. Just something to think of, or something to maybe remind you when you're thinking of experimenting with these materials. Let's take two more materials. Tusk, the synthetic tusk. I'm not talking about tusks from a woolly mammoth. We'll get there in a second. I'm talking about a synthetic material called tusk, T-U-S-Q. This is almost borderline ceramic material, but I guess if I was to combine plastic and ceramic, this is the result that you get. TUSC is a little bit more dense than plastic, so it transmits a little bit better. It works very well with pickups because it's quite uniform since it is man-made, and it is a little bit harder. But it still is soft on the spectrum. So in that case, it's my second least favorite. It's not bad. It just, for my purposes, I don't prefer it. Going from TUSC, you can get ebony or mother of pearl, and I'm going to lump those two in the same category. Ebony is wood. It's a very dense hardwood, so it transmits vibration fairly well. However, it does have some absorptive quality. So in terms of, on the tonal spectrum, I would put that in the mellow category. And then mother of pearl, which is essentially shell, very beautiful, used on a lot of show instruments or a lot of limited instruments. It's beautiful to look at. It functions well, but it's also softer than bone. So I would put that smack dab in the middle, also giving it kind of a mellow characteristic. And then last but certainly not least, I want to address the material fossilized walrus ivory. Fossilized ivory, whatever the case may be. Fossilized mammoth ivory, sometimes you see it when you're surfing guitar sites, abbreviated as FMI. I think there's a lot of myth surrounding this material. Now, I might get stoned here by some purists, but fossilized mammoth ivory really looks cool. Aesthetically, it's got a wonderful, unique, vintage look. It's kind of yellow mottled, almost bordering brown. And I think it works very well. I've worked with it in a couple instances making guitar nuts and saddles. But if I had my pick, I would actually prefer cowbone over fossilized ivory. And I'll tell you why. I feel that cowbone across the board is more consistent. Whereas fossilized ivory pieces, you might get a killer piece that's very uniform. In that case, you're in luck. It's awesome. But in terms of the majority of the pieces that I've seen, there's some modeling, there's some air pockets, there's some variety of density within the same piece. So the results might be kind of a grab bag. I'm not saying it's a bad material. I'm just giving you something to think of when you're out there trying to experiment with these things or thinking of experimenting with these things. So let me give you the breakdown of all those materials on the tonal spectrum, if you will. And we'll say that my left hand is kind of a dark, mellow, damped tone, and my right hand is more of a hard, responsive, crystal clear tone. I would say we'd start with plastic, go to TUSC, the synthetic TUSC, T-U-S-Q, move to ebony, mother of pearl, cowbone, and then fossilized ivory here at the end. And I'm using a good example of fossilized ivory, being that it is uniform and just a killer piece. In that case, you get wonderful crystal clear tone. You'd get just a great transmission of vibration. Now, my personal favorite, again, is cowbone. And you might be wondering to yourself, well, this is all great information, but what do I do with it? Well, last week I sent out an email. Go ahead, Levi. Oh. You're giving me a high five?
Yeah.
Thanks. Levi was doing hand signals. Last week I sent out an email that said one of the cheapest experiments you can do with your guitar is picks. Try out a bunch of different picks, and actually I got some great feedback on that, so thank you for those of you who emailed in or messaged in and said, hey, I tried it, this is cool, I found a new pick. But I would put the guitar pick experiment and like the strings experiment in kind of the cheapest category of experiments you can do. The next level experimentation you can do in terms of you have one guitar and you're trying to alter its tone are to change out the guitar nuts, the saddle, and the pins. And hopefully the material that I presented here today will help you make an educated guess as to what material would be a great fit for you. Now, anytime I've rated these materials today, it's because of my own opinion. And it's just because I prefer bone because of the way I play, the clarity that it offers on the guitars that I have. But none of the materials I mentioned are particularly bad, although there are some pitfalls. I'll get there in a second. You just have to match what kind of tone you want or what kind of tone you wish to pull out of your guitar. Again, those more mellow, kind of damped tone materials, plastic, synthetic tusk, and ebony, and a little bit more of the harder, more articulate materials would be mother of pearl, bone, and fossilized ivory. And I say fossilized ivory with an underline on the fossilized because you shouldn't be able to get any new ivory. And if you hear of getting some, don't buy it. Don't support that. Anyways, so last but certainly not least, I want to go over some pitfalls and really more on the bridge pinned end of things. And I'll throw the materials in there as well. I would, if you can at all, stay away from plastic. Plastic, being that it is so soft, being that it is the softest of all the materials that I mentioned, it's very prone to wearing prematurely. I've seen guitar strings just cut through a guitar nut after, however many string changes. I've seen saddles actually just kind of start to develop divots in them because of the guitar strings, because plastic is so soft. And last but certainly not least, plastic slotted bridge pins can actually cause damage to your bridge plate. And I say this because the slot allows the ball end of the string to kind of work into the bridge plate. And once it's done that and the bridge pins start to get old, the plastic is not as tough as it once was. So it can actually move the base of the bridge pin away, and that ball end of the string can continue to work its way and almost kind of carve at the bridge plate. So just a couple of pitfalls I want you to be aware of. When should you ever change these things? Well, bridge pins can be as simple as next time you change your strings, give some other bridge pins a shot. And if you like the tone, I would recommend getting an unslotted version of that pin. And of course, get that unslotted pin fit by a local luthier because it's a pretty involved process. As far as the saddle and the nut, if you ever take your guitar into a luthier or your local shop for a setup, ask them if they do something like that. Say, hey, I noticed that my guitar has a synthetic tusk guitar nut and saddle. Can I possibly swap that out for bone? And more often than not, a local shop or a local luthier will be able to do that. So that's when I would implement any changes. I wouldn't, unless you're comfortable making a guitar nut or making a guitar saddle, and more importantly, fitting a guitar nut and fitting a guitar saddle, I wouldn't go about this experimentation without any guidance or help from a luthier. So with that being said, I want to kick off our Q&A because I've just dumped a ton of information on you just for you to mull around. It's the things that we guitar geeks think about, and I just wanted to share that with you and shed a little light on that subject and hopefully pass along some information so that you feel comfortable now, at least knowing where on the tonal spectrum these materials lie, and of course, how they impact your guitar. So, Noah, Levi?
Yes, sir.
Fire away on the question front. I'm here, I'm caffeinated. I want to say thank you to Carol M. for getting me this coffee this morning. She sent me some Starbucks gift cards for my birthday, and there was a lot of birthday love shared by some TAC members that I also want to thank as well. I got a card from Joe R. I got a message from Dee Dee and Ken. I haven't picked it up yet. It's actually still at my P.O. box. But to all of you who sent the birthday love, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, Tony, we got some great questions going.
Good.
Great conversation. We have some people in here who are do luthier work.
Oh, fantastic.
And so they had, they're just going at it.
Yeah, totally.
Interesting. A couple things they were mentioned, I thought, was buffalo horn or...
Oh, great material. Yeah.
Or like deer antler material.
Absolutely. Like let me just comment on those. Thank you, whomever brought those up. Thank you for doing that. I was making a list of materials, and I totally spaced on that. Buffalo horn and any sort of antler, elk antler, deer antler. The antler material I would put closer to the bone, kind of in the hardness category. The horn I would put kind of hovering around the mother of pearl in terms of hardness and transmission of vibration. I just wanted to make a note on that. That's great. I'm so glad somebody brought those up.
Yeah. All right, so let's dive in to some questions.
Yeah.
PB Santos, he says, so how much should we trust the Taylor and Martin experts when they choose the saddle and nut material for their guitars?
Well, you can't, Taylor's been around since the 70s. Martin's been around since the 1830s. they have a good idea of what will make a guitar sound good. That being said, there's a big time caveat to this. They're making guitars en masse. I mean, these are two of the biggest guitar manufacturers in the world. And of course, for them, cost is a consideration. If they have a certain model that needs to hit a certain price point, they may choose a plastic or a synthetic tusk nut and saddle over something that's a little bit more, that costs more, or it involves more time to work with. So in that case, I would trust them from the standpoint that they're going to produce a guitar that generally sounds good, that plays well, and they will pick materials to use on that guitar so that they can hit their individual price points. With that in mind, if you have a guitar that you love, but you want to upgrade the saddle or the nut or the pins, I would say go for it, because generally speaking, I've seen a lot of Taylors in particular that use synthetic tusk, which isn't a bad thing. They use it a lot because of their pickups. It actually, because it's so uniform, it works great with pickups. But to my ear, it doesn't sound as good as bone, so I would change those out right away. But again, you know, being that those manufacturers are reputable manufacturers, I wouldn't necessarily mistrust their choices, but just know where their choices are coming from. And a lot of times it's from a production standpoint, which isn't bad. I mean, you can't blame them. They're making incredible amounts of guitars, so they got to do what's best for them too.
All right, Heidi asks, some manufacturers put tusk on higher end and bone on a level or two lower. Mm-hmm. Does that indicate that consistency of tusk is better than bone?
More often than not, it's usually due to them including a pickup. Because of the uniformity of tusk, the synthetic tusk, that means equal pressure will be applied on, say, a piezo element. And Taylor's in particular, I'm not picking on Taylor, I just noticed this a lot with Taylor, that more often than not, if the guitar has a pickup, it will be equipped with a tusk saddle and tusk nut. And they're looking for, you know, and they're doing this because if you plug in your guitar consistently, you want a nice consistent tone. You don't want the high strings not as loud as the low strings. And since tusk is so uniform, it can spread the weight and pressure over that piezo element and get really consistent results. Generally speaking, that's why they would do it. But if the guitar doesn't have a pickup, I would say they would probably cite its uniformity.
All right, Vic G. I ordered bone bridge pins on Amazon, but when I got them, they look like they're plastic. How can I test if my pins are really bone?
That's a great question. So I'd like you to, if you have like a cement garage floor or a ceramic tile floor or a desk, preferably not metal, just a good solid surface, take a plastic bridge pin and drop it on the desk or surface, and then take the said bone bridge pin and also drop it on the surface. You'll notice almost a marimba-y sound from the bone bridge pin. Sorry, I'm making sure I'm saying this right. There's a lot of B's. Yeah, you'll when you drop and the bone hits the hard surface, you'll get this kind of it'll be a musical sound, very like a marimba, almost a very articulate kind of clicking sound. Whereas the plastic will be a little bit more thuddy and it won't have any musicality to it at all. So that's a great quick test, and I want to say thanks for joining us, Vic G. I know that it was possible you might not be able to join us today, so kudos to you. That's Guitar Geek dedication.
I almost feel like we need to go speed round early on because there's so many questions about this topic.
This is a pretty controversial topic. I mean, I'm you guys call the shots.
We do have an announcement coming up. How many more do you want to do, Noah, before the next announcement?
Yeah, let me throw in 2 more.
Okay.
And then let's get to an announcement. So,
cool.
All right. Great answer, by the way. That's awesome. I had no clue about the difference there.
Yeah.
All right. Stephen C. He says, I'm worried now that I realize I've got a lot of plastic in my guitar. How frequently should I replace plastic bridge pins and nuts, or is it best to just upgrade?
I would say, in short, it's best to just upgrade. For any of you out there who have plastic guitar nut, plastic saddle, plastic bridge pins, this isn't cause for alarm. these materials wear down over time. It's not like you're going to change your strings 3 times and all of a sudden your bridge plate's all wonky and the nut is all screwed up. This is just something to think about. And if it's a guitar that you like, if it's a guitar that you enjoy playing, and it does have plastic pieces on it, I would upgrade. I think it's best to just upgrade than to continually swap out because you're going to get better tone. And once you get some of these harder, more dense materials employed in your guitar, you really won't have to worry about it anymore. So that's kind of my short-ish, medium-length answer.
Nice.
All right, and let's throw one last one in there for now. Long Hard Road asks, if you have plastic pins and are not upgrading, should you replace the pins when restringing?
Yeah, I would say that, average plastic bridge pin has a lifespan of, depending on how often you play, how often you change your strings, I would put it anywhere from a year and a half upwards to 3 to 4 years. This isn't exact, it's just a range so you know. So if you plan on keeping those plastic pins, it's not a problem. Just go ahead and replace them. Once you start to see them kind of bend, you'll see them bend backwards. Kind of if the bridge pin is up like this and the slot is on my fingernail side of my finger, they'll start to actually bend backwards like that. Once you see that, then it's time to replace them.
All right. Let's move on. We got some announcement. We got an announcement.
An announcement. Let's hit it.
Let's hit it.
I have 2 announcements, really. The first one is I'm using this new mustache wax, and I don't like it. It's really bothering me. So if you see me messing with my mustache, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Second announcement, which is...
which one should I steer away from? I don't know if
it's
you noticed,
not...
but I'm kind of working on something myself here.
Yeah.
So should I steer away from this particular brand or what?
Well, let me just say this. It's not that the wax is bad. I just feel that my mustache has entered a new level in terms of length and its unmanageability. So I need a much more tackier wax. The wax that I have is great. It's mostly beeswax and some coconut oil, but it doesn't have the holding power that I'm after.
Are you trying to grow that out too? Or
well,
I thought
yeah.
you usually trim that.
Whitney's not liking this. Let me just say that. Let me preface
I agree with
this.
her. I mean,
that was your convo this morning, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I'm trying an experiment. I want to get it long enough to where I can consistently keep it out of the way.
Okay.
But I will say that soup and sandwich combinations are very difficult nowadays. So
got it. Noted. Okay.
Yeah.
So
that's the first one. So the actual pertinent information / announcement is that the Capo course is live. And I am super pumped to be offering this course within the Tony's Acoustic Challenge Academy. A lot of folks are diving in already and having light bulb moments and small wins nearly immediately. So if you haven't checked out the Capo course, please go and do that. It starts out with literally basic application of the capo, which holds a lot of small wins and light bulb moments for people. A lot of common questions that we are either, I can say for myself, I was too afraid to ask or I just didn't know was right or wrong, get addressed in this very first video on how to apply the capo. It seems like a simple topic, but it's one that is creating a lot of chatter and people are really pumped about. From there, we go to how to capo for voice. From there, we go to how to capo for chord form. And then I go into the weeds on some really weird alternative capos, and I even made some collections of capos, if you will, that will be released in the coming week, this week, and you'll be able to check those out as well. So if you haven't checked it out yet, please visit the Capo Comprehension course. I think you're really going to dig it, and for those of you who are in it already, thank you for interacting, leaving comments, and just totally digging it. It's been a great course. And just another note on this course. So what we're doing is we're releasing the course, and then at the conclusion of the course, which is next Wednesday, is that correct?
Well, it's actually Friday.
Yeah, it's actually Friday.
I'm sorry. The course will conclude on a Friday, but next Wednesday we'll give some time for everybody to make it through the course and hit all the modules. Next Wednesday, guys, I'm struggling with.
You want me to
words
take
today.
over? I can.
Go ahead. No, just let me. I need a little bit more caffeine.
Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned that, Tony, because if you guys are noticing on the calendar. The calendar date, will go from the Monday to the following Wednesday, where it concludes with the live Q&A.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I got up really early this morning, did a 10-mile run. I'm prepping for the marathon, which is this weekend. I'm a little nervous about it, but hence my subtle brain fog. I'm sorry about that. So, yeah, thank you for outlining that.
So we'll see everybody next Wednesday at 11 o'clock. Is that right?
That's correct. That's
and
correct.
if you don't know anything about the Academy or the Capo course, what do you have to do to go get this course?
Well, all you have to do is go visit the Academy within your Tony's Acoustic Challenge membership. All you have to do is sign in, and from your homepage, you can visit the Academy, click on Academy, scroll down. It's right beneath the Fretboard Wizard in the Song Vault. Top left corner, you'll see the Capo Comprehension course. Click on it, you can start the course, and away you go. Once you start it, you can always access it in the My Courses feature on the left-hand menu. And I really think it's one of those things that, you buy a guitar and salesperson says, you got to get a capo too. And nobody ever asks why. They just say, oh, okay, cool, I guess I need a capo. So this course really addresses that very question and then goes further.
So can I do a call for small wins? I noticed that Michelle Chang said she just got a small win. I didn't even know what the nut and saddle were until a half an hour ago.
Awesome.
And I ordered a capo this week. So,
that's killer. That's awesome.
Maybe she can kick off the small wins, and if you guys want to just start typing in your small wins, just kind of mention, do like the hashtag small win, and then let us know. And then Noah will be featuring your small wins here in a little bit after this next round of questions. Do you have another bunch over there?
I do. Got some more questions coming over here. Wanted to make sure I hit most of the saddle and pin ones.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff first, but there's a couple more, and then we'll segue into some other general questions.
Cool.
Deneb asks, what about steel nuts?
It is an option. It's certainly not my favorite. If you're after kind of a zingy, crispy, metallic tone, absolutely, it's a great material. But I find that in terms of a steel nut, steel pins, it's very difficult to work with and modify if you have to. So in that case, I would put them in the specialty category. But definitely if you're after, like I said, that crispy, metallic, zingy kind of a tone, if you play slide and you just really want nice, solid articulation, it's a great material for that. So I would definitely put that in the specialty category.
All right. Krusty asks, do you happen to know what the material would be on a 57 Martin D28? What the stock?
It probably has plastic pins and a bone nut and saddle for sure. I think Martin's been pretty consistent throughout the years. Prior to the integration of other series besides the standard series, more often than not, you can bet that the standard series has bone nut, bone saddle, and plastic pins. Of course, there are exceptions, but generally speaking, that is the case.
All right. Heidi asks, is it a good idea or not to look at replacement bridge pins for the Taylor GS Minis? And if so, what would be a good...
Yeah, I've actually, this very question came through from a TAC member. I can't remember who it was. This was quite a while ago. And he has the same question. And I said, the best, in my opinion, the best pairing, both aesthetically and sonically, would be ebony. So I would actually opt for ebony. It matches the black color plastic pins that they currently have. So it keeps the same aesthetic, but you'll notice that the health of the bridge plate will be retained. And I think you'll notice a subtle sonic difference as well.
All right, there are some questions left, Tony, but maybe we can leave those for the speed round.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's absolutely fair.
So I think we have another announcement.
Do we have another announcement?
I think we do. Let's do it.
All right, I'm ready. This announcement is going to involve Levi Quila, the man with the technical plan.
Oh, is it?
But I'm going to preface it. I'm going to preface it saying that you've now probably noticed the new homepage. And during the, I guess it would be the last member update that I did, I kind of unloaded a lot of information. So I wanted everybody to notice the new homepage, but I also wanted to clear up, there have been some, do we call them tracking issues? Basically the check marks, there's a bug / glitch with the check marks that we are currently working on. We haven't gotten it fully fixed yet, but we are well aware of it and certainly on a way to fixing it. So that's the first item of business. The second is, you guys have noticed yesterday the forum closed down, and it's closed again today, and that's because we have something very new and exciting coming for you. I got a sneak peek this morning, and I just am super pumped. Maybe I shouldn't even talk about my sneak peek. I'm going to let Levi do the heavy lifting here because I'll divulge too much. It's just so amazing.
You know, we've all been looking at this morning, and you know, because the transfer of the forum and sort of the development of the new community is sort of halfway through right now. The first phase went really well, so we're starting to get excited, but you know, with this technical stuff, it seems like there's always something that goes wrong or a big concession you have to make. You know, like right now, for example, we've got forum moved over, but they weren't able to get the photo attachments, and so now we're waiting to see if they have a solution or if that's going to be, you know, an issue. But there's other things like, you know, people have been asking for a member map for like the longest time. We had kind of a solution for that a member did, and it was kind of hard to figure out. I actually could never figure that out. But just this morning we looked and we actually have a solution to do the member map. So if we're able to actually
really
successfully
cool.
move over, yeah, if we can move everything over, this is going to be so cool. And you know, we've got a list of probably 12 things that we want to tell you about, but we're going to hold off because we just haven't gotten this, like, you know, we're maybe 55% there, but we haven't gotten this confirmation that everything's going to work out.
I mean, we're at the point right now where we think we're getting the Red Ryder BB gun for Christmas, but we're not entirely sure it's going to be under the tree in the morning. So we can't wait to open the presents, but we want to make sure that we divulge the correct information.
Yeah, like mom might have ordered like the keychain version.
Yeah.
So, like in the picture, it looked like it was life size, but it's just a keychain. She was wondering why it was $5.99.
Right. She got a killer deal.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, and the other thing that on the checkmark issue, we're still working on that. But the other thing was people were asking, what does that average weekly login score mean? And for the first, I think, 3 weeks of having it actually didn't mean much. So we actually have been able to go in and customize how that score is determined. And so the math is simply put, how many times did you log in the last 28 days, i.e. in the last 4 weeks, divided by 4, so 4 weeks. So it'll give you, you know, the best you can get is 7, because that would be logging in every day. And Tony, you're recommending just aim for 2.
Yeah.
Aim for a score of 2. If you can average 2 logins a week, you're doing pretty good.
Absolutely. I mean, it's I think I love the new homepage because it's very informative, and it gives you a little boost. You know, I mean, aiming for 2 times a week is killer because when you achieve that, you can build upon that. Don't strive for perfection. I just want you to keep in mind that this is a balance between the ongoings of everyday life and of course feeding your guitar habit as well. So yeah, recommend the 2. Start there and then build from there.
Awesome. That does
Is it small win time?
Well,
yes, but I just have to say something real quick, if I can interject.
You can.
Being the intermediate movie file that I pride myself on, I just have to say regarding the Red Ryder BB gun, that it wasn't under the tree in the morning. Remember, his dad had placed it hidden over behind the desk in the corner.
Ralphie was bummed out.
He was
totally
bummed.
Ralphie, right?
Ralphie, yeah, totally bummed out. You know, sitting there at the end.
Yeah.
Randy's all passed out, asleep in the wrapping paper.
Didn't he get a blimp?
He Zeppelin.
A Zeppelin, correct.
A Zeppelin.
Yeah.
So hopefully Tony didn't jinx us with that example. I'm sure it's good. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's fine, guys.
I'm sure it's fine.
This is so cool if it works.
Thank you for the clarification, Noah. That was good. And that was actually one of my favorite of the movies that you mentioned. I have seen that one.
Okay.
And it has
all
been
of it.
Oh yeah, many times.
All the way through in one sitting.
The dogs. He slams the tail.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Eats the turkey dinner.
Yep. The Bumpus Hounds.
The Bumpus Hounds. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Do you guys want to do small wins?
Black Bart. Yeah. Sorry.
All right. Small wins. Levi already mentioned Michelle C's, but it's a great one to mention again. I didn't even know what the nut and saddle were until half an hour ago, and I ordered a capo this week. This is another one from Michelle. First completed month of practice.
Awesome job. Very good job.
So cool.
Jeffrey M. Working on bar chords, finally trying them.
Heck yeah, that's
Yeah.
I mean, they're intimidating little buggers. So good job on that.
Mike Y. I finally started playing some bar chords as well.
Killer.
Stephen C. Completed first run through of Billy in the Low Ground.
Nice job.
Practicing to earn a performance badge now.
Awesome.
Can't wait.
D. Nelson. I made it to today's Q&A.
Hey.
All right.
I
good.
appreciate everybody that's here, and if that's your small win, I mean, that's a double thumbs up. Heck yeah.
Slick Liz, 56. After 3 months of consistent practice, bar chords are much cleaner.
Heck yeah.
Joe R. Achieved Black Wizard status in my first year.
That's what I'm talking about.
Also finished 11 months of TAC.
Nice work.
Donna R. Kind of a big win, really. I recorded my first EP.
Holy cow. That's awesome.
3 original songs, a great experience.
We're going to need to hear that probably.
Yeah.
Oh,
Heck
yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
That's fantastic. Thanks for sharing that with us. Holy cow.
Tom C. finally figured out Freight Train.
Nice.
Patrick P. He actually tuned his guitar.
That's fantastic.
Aaron M. I started my day with TAC so consistently at 5:30 a.m. 7 days a week.
Oh, that is so perfect. That is so cool.
I get really grumpy if I miss it. if I'm a Grumposaurus Rex, my family says, "Did you forget to do TAC today?"
That is so cool. We might have to fly to Aaron and do a profile. That sounds so classic, and it's not as easy as
It's
sounds.
not. Because
Yeah.
it's so, I mean, I know for me, speaking personally, it's so easy to just be like, yeah, I love my bed right now. And I'll do the Grumposaurus thing. I mean,
yeah.
you guys saw me this morning.
Well, you weren't grumpy.
Great job, Aaron. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Moving onward. So I'll throw one last one here in.
Yeah.
Joe figured out what a seventh chord is and why.
Nice.
Thanks, FW,
Fretboard wizard.
Fretboard Wizard. I see
Fantastic.
what she did there.
I see.
that?
FW. That's for the alums.
FW. All right.
Awesome. Is that our first small
That's
win
it.
report?
That's our first. That's our
Awesome.
first round of
Well,
small
let
win
me.
report.
Why don't you guys hit me with some questions if we're doing okay on time? I still want to give a guitar away. I still have some cool. I'm looking at my notes, which are everywhere. I still have a cool, kind of an in case you missed it last week thing that I can't
think
wait
the
to share
coolest.
with you guys.
That's the coolest
I'm
announcement.
pretty pumped about.
Hey, should we
that.
do we should do a board shot in anticipation?
Yeah,
for the,
you
should we
actually totally should.
Okay, I'm gonna do the
Right.
board shot. Here we go.
Okay.
We're looking
Yeah.
at the board, guys. Right now, there it is in all its glory.
That is glorious. It's beautiful.
So for the new members, what's going to happen with that board here in a bit?
I'm glad you asked, Levi. So that dartboard, on it is pegged, rather tacked up there, a sheet of paper which holds the profile pictures of everyone who completed last month's practice plan. Now, what we mean by completed here is to mark an exercise complete, you only need to spend 10 focused minutes on it. Okay, you don't have to master it. You don't have to do any certain speed. 10 focused minutes. I'm talking focused minutes. I'm not talking TV on in the background. I'm talking focus here. If you do that for the whole month, you complete the month, you get a badge, and of course your profile pic gets added to that piece of paper. And what I do, I conclude the guitar parties, the live guitar parties, with the throw of a fateful dart. And that fateful dart will land on somebody. And if that person happens to have a profile picture, I will give a guitar away to that person. Send it right to their house, and it will be a Taylor GS Mini. So I'm pretty pumped for that, and I know that Levi's pumped about that dart camera.
Hey, it's not me. It's the people.
I
They
mean-
wanted the dart cam. We gave it to them.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, when I see the dart camera, it's pretty exciting.
It is so
It,
fun.
it makes this a sporting event instead of a newscast. It's like a newscast and a sporting event
Whoa.
combined.
Should we just do the next announcement right this second?
I think Levi really wants to get to the next announcement.
Yeah, because it does involve the dart cam. Let's do
And-
Levi.
Yeah, that's fine because the questions we got the speed round coming up too.
True.
Okay.
And I always
Yeah.
need help.
Let's do an announcement.
All right. Last week was a big week. Last week was quite possibly one of those notable moments in Guitar Geek history. Quite possibly you'll see it next year's calendar. There's going to be an anniversary because last week we officially launched the Acoustic Tuesday show. Now, I first need to say this. If any of you have missed last week's Acoustic Tuesday show, please go watch it. You will enjoy it. It's full of guitar geeky gems, things that I've found in my guitar geeky wanderings throughout the week that I share with you. But it's done so in a way that it's just fun and candid, and there's dart battles, and there's talk of bourbon and scotch, and there's talk of just overall guitar geekness. It's a guitar geek flag waving party, if you will, and there's a heated battle currently. We just released the second episode yesterday of Acoustic Tuesday, of course on Tuesday. You can catch it every Tuesday on Facebook or YouTube, and we launched that at, is that 10? Oh, I'm sorry, 11. 11.
It's 10 a.m.
It is 10.
It is.
Ha, 10 a.m. Mountain Time. But there's a war being waged between Noah and I, and it involves bourbon and scotch. And the only way to settle it truly is darts. And Levi's going to show you a little clip here.
Oh, you want to show a clip?
I would love to, because it really.
All I have is the intro to the dart segment.
Perfect.
Well,
I could play that
That's
if you
good.
want.
I'll tell you right now. If you watch, I'm gonna talk directly to you guys right now. If you watch this dartboard intro and you don't want to go watch Acoustic Tuesday, first of all, I don't think that's going to happen. Levi, just please play the clip because it's incredible.
Mary C. brings up a good point. People, don't worry. It's not all just talk of scotch and bourbon, although a lot of it is. Okay. I'll show the. This is the little intro to. This is probably 3/4 of the way through the show. After Tony's, mentioned a lot of his acoustic guitar goodness, and then these guys have an epic dart battle, and then we go to the dart cam and we play some darts. So here's what I have. This is the short version, so you have to go watch episode 2 to see the longer version of this intro. Let's check it out. All right.
I'm laughing because every time Levi plays that, I can not only hear it, but I can see him starting to smile and almost laugh every single time. So it's it's a war that we're waging.
It is. But I can't think of war ever being this much fun.
Yeah, because it's going to
Accurate.
end. It's going to end in a bottle of bourbon or a bottle of scotch.
It's really a win-win, I think.
I want to just take a poll before we get to. So we're going to go to speed round of questions next.
Yeah.
But as long as everybody's here, I'm a scotch guy. I love scotch. I'm not. Over. I drink. I'll do the bourbon. But Noah's a scotch guy. He's a scotch guy with me.
And
But
I
Tony?
also saw on the episode, Susan A. left a comment that said she liked scotch. And I got to be honest, I feel incredibly outnumbered right now.
So anyway, are you scotch or are you bourbon? Let us know. Now, PB Santos says, now for some slow motion action. So I would like to tell you,
Thank you, PB. You don't know what you just did.
I've been lobbying the guys. I'm like, guys, I know all we have to do is get some stuff, and we can do slow motion instant replays and a live scoreboard.
Now, not to
So we might see that.
and not to isolate everyone, I do just want to say that we fully understand bourbon and scotch are not the only drinks available.
True.
Or what you could have. Joe L. mentions you keep leaving off the Tennessee whiskey.
Correct.
And Michelle says she votes for lattes instead of bourbon or scotch.
I'm with you there.
Right.
Yeah.
So just wanna say that, and I also want to say, myself being a bass player, Levi over there being a drummer, I think those tend to be a little more complex, and I think of scotch as being more complex of
Oh, I think drums are
more
really
refined,
complex.
more
refined.
detail oriented.
I mean, I
more,
definitely think drums are super complex. I mean, an instrument that lacks melody completely, I mean, that's incredible.
It's amazing. I see what you did there.
we are getting.
Whoa,
We're getting such good answers here. We've got everything from water to tequila to Crown Royal, Sprite,
Oh yeah.
Jack Daniels, rum. There's red wine, Red Bull. A lot of good answers here.
Mixed, or is that separate?
No, just everybody,
Separate,
talking about
yeah.
Good.
their jam.
Yeah. there's-
Fantastic.
Cool.
All right, so I suppose we should get down to business. Do you guys want to do a lightning round?
Yeah, and I always put this off because, well, for natural reasons.
Okay, yeah, because you have to be fast.
We didn't
Yeah.
even mention.
But here we go. It's 11:53 Mountain Time. We are going long. Let's do a speed round and then some
right.
small wins. And then I think it might be time for
All
the
right.
guitar giveaway. You guys ready?
Speed it up, Noah.
All right. Here we go. Noah, hit it.
All right. James G. How long does it take, or give or take, how long, to not look at the frets anymore for my finger positioning?
That's a really great question. I think actually when you're in, don't think of it as like a phase. You're wanting to make sure your fingers are going to the right spot. And then once you start to develop the muscle memory and the confidence that your fingers are landing in the right spot, you'll actually start to be able to look away. It's the time range is really different for everybody. It's really related to confidence and muscle memory. So I would say if you want to practice it, do like a chord transition, say from a G to a D. Do it maybe 10 times looking at your fingers, and then try and challenge yourself doing it once without looking at your fingers. And then see if you can keep that kind of train rolling, almost like playing a game, a transition game or a no-look game. I think you'll notice that the more and more you play and the more confidence that you have in where your fingers are going, you'll be able to look away from the fretboard.
Bruce asks, "Hi Tony, I've got a CEO7
Cool guitar.
and was going to have the saddle dropped a tad. I guess I should have the pins replaced at the same time."
Yeah, if you're getting any setup work done on your guitar that involves, a saddle height adjustment or a guitar nut slot depth adjustment, since the strings are off and since the guitar's on the bench anyway, it's best to get the pins. Just go ahead and replace them right there.
I'm excited about a couple of questions coming up. Beverly M. My old classical guitar doesn't have pins. The strings are just sort of wrapped around a piece of wood on the bridge. What is that called?
So that's unique to a classical guitar or Spanish guitar or nylon string guitar, and essentially what they call, I believe those are called a wraparound saddle. No, there's another name for it, and I'm blanking. Essentially, the strings are tied on in kind of an intricate way. In fact, there's been a lot of requests for me to do a string change video on that very style of guitar, which I do have in my mind. It's just a matter of going through my list. But yeah, there's no bridge pins involved on a classical guitar. Because of the fan bracing underneath, which means the bracing essentially goes across the whole entire top of the guitar, they use that wraparound style bridge, or the tie-on bridge.
Stephen C. I'm not that familiar with Scotch or bourbon. I think I'll go out and buy one of each to pick a side. What brands should I buy?
I would say, if you're new to bourbon, I would say try Eagle Rare. It's a mid-priced bottle. It's about $35 to $40, and it's my go-to kind of a fantastic bourbon.
Great. I'll throw a Scotch out there, and then Levi can back me up or add his own thoughts if he
Okay.
like. But I would say, so there's two different main kinds of Scotch. Now, of course, Scotch is pretty, right? It is crucial. It can't be a Scotch unless it's right from Scotland. Thanks, Levi. He gave me a nudge. But anyway, so you'll have your peaty Scotches, and then you'll have your Highland Scotches. So on the peaty side, if you like that smoky kind of flavor, I would go with a Ardbeg 10, a Lafroig 10. Yeah, those are good to start with. And if you want to go with the Highland side, what would you say, Levi? Any suggestions for that?
Well, I was trying to come up with one, like Tony said, like a lower mid-range, easy to kind of try out. It's not like a $90 bottle.
Ardbeg 10's like 58. Okay. Maybe?
Yeah, Ardbeg 10 is one of my favorites in that range. It really blows my mind. How much was that Port Charlotte? I think that is just
Oh,
incredible.
yeah, the Port Charlotte from Bruichladdich. Yeah, that one's a little more. So that one's going to be pushing maybe 70.
Yeah, that's a good to get started.
I know. There's just it's hard to find.
It is. I'm looking over at
good
our
Scotch. Cheap
You
Scotch.
know, and I think really what this is an indicator of is that Scotch is really complicated and bourbon's super simple. You just go to the shelf and you think, oh,
Yeah.
Eagle Rare, cool, Kentucky bourbon, fantastic.
Nice.
Okay, so back to the lightning round.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry.
But
yeah.
I think the end of the Acoustic Tuesday, the 4-week round and who wins and whatever. I think we're gonna probably end up launching a tasting segment that's just all on its own.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Okay. Oh, wait, real quick on the Highlands, the unpeated, right? You can go with the like a Glenmorangie or the Macallan. But anyway, okay. Moving
Macallan 12 is my favorite from that sort of side of things.
Okay, Macallan 12. All right, moving on. Great question, Stephen. All right, Sean B. You've mentioned in some guitar reviews that the guitar is good for alternate tunings. What makes a guitar better or worse for alternate tunings?
That's a fantastic question. So generally speaking, alternate tunings are lower tunings like an open D or even quite possibly lower than that, open G or even kind of a C9 type tuning. Regardless of the name, generally speaking on acoustic guitars, when you do an alternate tuning, it's lower. And since the strings are going to be tuned lower, there's a lot of bass buildup that can happen and a lot of muddiness that can occur in terms of the strings all seem to kind of mush together. Now, I'm not talking physically here. I'm talking sonically. In the sonic space, each string starts to blend with the next. So when I say that a guitar is good for alternate tunings, I mean that the guitar is very articulate, and the strings retain their sonic piece of the pie as you tune them lower. So you can hear each string. A guitar that, I'll use my own guitars for an example. My Gibson SJ is not good for alternate tunings. Mahogany back and sides, spruce top, shorter scale length. As soon as I start tuning that guitar down, it just creates this sound, almost like this glob of sound. Whereas my Martin Custom OM with maple back and sides and the high altitude Swiss spruce top, each string remains clear even if I tune it down to, say, the low E to a C. So that's what I'm talking about in terms of if a guitar is a good match for alternate tunings.
All right.
Take your time. No, just kidding.
Sorry, there's All right. Matt H., do you have any good suggestions for learning chord inversions? And what's the best way to start?
When I'm trying to, I don't think of, this is the way that I approach it, and this is the way that I encourage other people to approach it because it limits the things that you have to remember. I don't even call them chord inversions. I just call them different chord shapes. In that case, I would recommend starting with the caged navigation system, meaning a C-shaped chord leads to an A-shaped chord, to a G-shaped chord, E-shaped chord, D-shaped chord. And I view each of those shapes as an inversion. Now, we can get into the weeds a little bit on this, but since it's a speed round, I would start there. And then my next step would be to analyze each of those shapes and break down the triads and see what triads you're actually already holding down. Because more often than not, if you know a couple different chord shapes, chances are you already know a couple different chord inversions without even knowing it. So start there, start with what you know, and then dive a little bit deeper.
All right, AJP, should I be worrying about the humidity if I have a back and side laminated rosewood but solid spruce top?
I would say yes, for the reason that you still have a solid spruce top. Spruce is a fairly soft tone wood, and it can be susceptible to taking on moisture and getting rid of moisture. And also the bracing underneath your guitar is made of solid wood as well. And just to keep the guitar in overall good health, humidity should definitely be a consideration.
All right, Jeff B. I started on your courses to learn fingerstyle. I've been working some with flat pick since you alternate with your exercises. Am I wasting my time trying to learn both FP, flat picking, and finger picking at the same time?
I don't think so at all. In fact, the reason I do that is, of course, to expose all the members to different techniques, but also kind of give a subtle push to the people that would say, I'm just a fingerstyle player, to try a flat pick, and vice versa. And what I really want you to do is try and draw parallels between the two styles. And the big one, I'll give you kind of a starting point. When you look at finger picking, the thumb is generally responsible for the numbered beat, the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4. And the index or middle or ring, if you choose to use your ring finger, is responsible for the and. And in flat picking, you have a downstroke on the numbered beat and an upstroke on the and beat. So right there is kind of this interesting parallel in terms of the physical motion that you make while playing through a given measure of eighth notes. It's always a down motion on the downbeat and an up motion on the upbeat. So I encourage people to try and draw parallels, even if you fancy yourself more of a fingerstyle player than a flat picker, or again, vice versa.
All right, coming up on the last one here, Tony, but want to say Mary C. jumped in on Jeff B.'s question there, and Mary said, Jeff B., do what you love. I'm a fingerstyle player too, but Tony's flat picking lessons have upped my game.
Awesome. So. And I'll kind of piggyback on that even and say, if there's a given flat picking lick, flat picking chord progression that you run into that you're like, I'm just not feeling the flat pick today. I just want to go to what's comfortable. Try that same lick or chord progression or scale finger picking. Try and try and translate it. I think even that is an exercise in and of itself that will help you out a ton.
And so one last one in here, Bill E. Tony, the other day you mentioned major chords where on the first, third, and fourth degrees and minors on the second. What do you mean by degrees?
So whenever I'm referring to degrees, I'm talking about notes within a major scale. So whenever I'm referring to chord positions, those are numbers. The 1, the 4, and the 5 are all major chords in a major key. The 2, 3, and 6 are all minor. But each of those chords consists of scale degrees. So that's kind of the way I like to separate it in my mind. Whenever I refer to degrees, I'm talking about notes within that scale. Whenever I'm referring to just numbers, I'm talking about that representative chord.
Awesome. Thank you, Tony.
Yeah,
great round.
Absolutely.
I know we could definitely get faster at that. There's just so many interesting questions.
I know.
I think that was pretty good. You guys did pretty good on
I mean, I'd like to give myself a pat on the back because there was some speed.
Go ahead.
There.
You did a good job this month.
Good.
Thanks.
So I was thinking we kind of forgot to do another call for small wins. Maybe we give away a guitar, and for right now, just do the last call for small wins.
Yeah.
For one more round. So if you have yet to report your small win, go ahead and do the hashtag small win, and then tell us what happened this month that has you, grateful for your progress on guitar. And
it could be anything. Small win could be, you change your strings, you finally tune your guitar, you bought a capo, whatever the case may be. In Michelle's C case, she found out about the nut saddle pins and got a capo. Or it could be maybe you tackled a song you've been after for a really long time. Whatever the case may be, whatever kind of victory it is, put it in as a small win because those are the things that keep us going. Now, did you want to give away a guitar?
Yeah, I think it's time.
Can I say one thing quick?
Oh, man, you sure can.
Just, quick-ish. I love giving away stuff. And just 2 weeks ago, we got a wonderful email from the folks at Mesa Boogie. And I thought to myself, wow, this is interesting. Mesa Boogie, I just, in my head, think of electric guitar. And, of course, amps. Because that's what they've made for a long time. But they just launched an acoustic series of amps. And the fella from Mesa reached out and he said, would you guys be interested in reviewing these? And I said, well, yeah, as a guitar geek, I feel obligated. I have to. So what I have next to me is the Mesa Rosette DI, which is on cue for review, which you guys will see soon. It's not ready right now. And the Mesa Rosette amp, which I'm super pumped about. I've been playing with this thing at the office, and it sounds killer. And I know I kind of made this segue on giveaways. Once the reviews are done, I'm actually going to give this away.
Nice.
Anyways,
what does it do?
what does it do?
Looks
If
like
you
a
go
com-
to if you
looks
go to
like a computer.
says the drummer. Well, it's a lot like Scotch. See, you've got your Highlands over here and your Lowlands over here, and it all tastes pretty
Whatever.
much the same. So what does it do? This is a DI. So if you go to an open mic, a live gig, you're practicing at home and you want to plug into, say, a speaker, this essentially takes your guitar signal, gives you a ton of EQ controls, actually gives you a boost. There's a lot of different options on here in terms of being able to mute, go out to a tuner. So this is like your best friend if you're plugging in your guitar in any live situation. It essentially allows you to say, hey, I'm not going to let the sound guy mess with me today. I'm going to have this little buddy along and be able to control my own EQ and how my guitar sounds. It's just a really killer little unit, and I'm so pumped to be reviewing this stuff because as soon as I saw this, just in the look and feel, I loved it. And I have yet to try this out, but I have been messing with the amp. And the amp controls mimic what's on the DI, so I've been blown away by the amp, and I'm assuming that the DI will continue to melt my brains. So I'm pretty pumped about that, and I'm also pumped to give that away.
Cool.
Yeah, it's funny. Funny that you made that comment between the Scotch and the Mesa Boogie, and
Yeah.
I use Mesa Boogie,
Yeah.
so right on.
So there's a connection there? Or?
There is a connection.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have to keep that in mind for later. Should I get, speaking of giveaway things?
So how does it work, and what are you giving away? How's the what do you have to do to kind of be in
Here's the deal.
drawing? And what is that guitar you have sitting there?
Behind me, there's a sheet of paper pinned to the dartboard, and on that sheet of paper, there are little tiny faces, and those faces are the people that completed August's practice plan. Every exercise they went through and spent 10 focused minutes on and marked it complete. They got their practice badge. They're on that piece of paper. I'm about to throw a dart to pick the winner of a Taylor GS Mini sent to your door. All you have to do is hope that I'm an accurate dart thrower.
And pay the $700 shipping and handling fee.
So
That was a joke. Totally
it was.
kidding. Yeah, no, it's totally free.
Noah wasn't laughing. He was not.
He's
he was not
focusing.
thrilled.
He's pasting in a ton of small wins over there.
Yeah, I was focusing. Sorry. Haha.
Okay, well, guys, I'm gonna throw the majestic dart.
Let's do
Okay.
it. Majestic. So
I was
you're
gonna say
using-
magical, but I just thought. Usually I put my darts on my desk, but today
Hey man, eagles are majestic.
it's true. Do you have the dart cam on?
I'm waiting to turn it on.
Okay.
Actually, I'm looking at Noah right now. Okay. All right, ready for the dart cam?
As soon as you give me the go, I'm gonna throw this thing.
All right, I think we're all ready to watch this go down.
Okay. Here goes nothing.
Okay, and he's throwing. Ooh, seems to have landed
that
on.
was a smack dab. That was killer. Oh gosh, in somebody's forehead.
Ooh,
Oh gosh.
nice solid hit.
Sorry about that. So you can see that there's a definite hole there. I'm gonna deliver this to Noah.
Yes, and I will do my research.
Noah, I hand you the official dart sheet.
Okay.
It's right there.
All right.
Just waiting on Noah right now.
Now we have just the.
He's kind of a slow processor.
Who do you think it's going to be? Is the name?
I have a suspicion actually, but since there's so many people that completed August's practice plan, the pictures are pretty small. And I should first just say congratulations to everyone who completed August's practice plan because, as we all know, summer things can get crazy, especially around here in Montana. You got family coming in this week. You got marathons the next week. You got all sorts of things happening. So kudos to everybody who finished last month's practice. I can't say enough about your Guitar Geek dedication, other than 2 thumbs up and rock and roll.
Are you getting close, Noah?
No, I fudged it.
Okay, you messed up.
Do you need help?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
What we can do,
Why don't I go over?
I can do it. I can really do it.
Let's see what I can find here.
Okay.
But you can maybe tell them about what we decided on the 5-day challenges.
Oh, well, while Noah and Levi, I just want to first say, I think this is an indication of what Scotch does to you. I can be fairly articulate, well-spoken, and execute. The two scotch drinkers are trying to figure out how to turn on my computer right now.
Not that anybody's drinking right now.
So, the 5-day challenge. So the Pinky Challenge, which was held last month. Congratulations to everybody who went through it and had a just stellar, chiseled, amazing pinky after the challenge was through. It went off without a hitch, and people really dug it. So we put our heads together here and thought we should do more of those 5-day challenges. And we also thought, gosh, there's so many questions about bar chords and so many small wins surrounding bar chords that we should do a 5-day bar chord strength builder challenge. So that's exactly what Levi and I finished filming. Was that last week?
It may have been. I think it was this week.
The days kind of blend together. Anywho, the 5-day bar chord strength building challenge has been filmed, and we are yet to release it, but it is certainly on the queue and going to come your way sooner than later. So that being the case, make sure to stretch your fingers. Make sure to get all limbered up for the bar chord builder challenge, which is coming up. We don't have a release date for it. It's just been filmed. I just wanted to give you a little scoop since these guys, I think.
So we have a winner.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. Yeah.
Are you ready?
Uh-huh. Okay. Levi, drum roll.
Okay. I'll work on
a
that.
drummer.
For next
Yeah, great drum roll. Okay, winner of the guitar this month is Stefan C. from New York, New York.
Fantastic. Congratulations, Stefan C. Congratulations. You have won yourself a Taylor GS Mini.
Love it.
By feeding your guitar hat. So congratulations to you, and holy smokes, that's incredible.
This is exciting.
I'm pumped.
Super pumped.
He should be pumped too. I bet he's pumped.
He's probably pumped. I can hear him yelling from here. I
Very
think
cool.
the winds are just right. It's carrying the New York, voices over.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little louder.
So we have
than
small
usual.
wins and an activity code.
Oh my gosh, guys.
You guys ready for some small wins?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's do it. Okay.
All right. Deneb finally dominated Travis picking.
Sweet.
Andrew M. changed out all strings on 3 guitars I own, tuned perfect.
That's fantastic.
Michelle C. loves Acoustic Tuesday. Great job, guys. I can't believe how much info you all pack into a week. I'm assuming none of you sleep. Really enjoying all of it.
Thank you.
If I say this right, is it Brace or Braic 52? I finally used a capo.
Nice.
All right. Stephen C. had a jam session with my dad, with him on the keyboard and me on the guitar.
That's killer. That's awesome.
Cool.
PM Michael, kids no longer hanging on guitar neck while I try to practice.
Huge. That's a huge win. That's huge.
Okay, Karen. I played Landslide well enough for someone to sing along with me.
Nice work.
D. Nelson got to play with my son over the holiday weekend.
That's fantastic. That always makes you feel good.
Schumann T. I watched Tommy Emmanuel live last night.
Oh,
Wow.
I'm a little jealous.
Yeah,
I mean,
a
that's
little
a
jealous.
small win with a little. I'm excited, but I'm a little jealous because Tommy hasn't been out here for a bit.
And let's see, last one here. It's a cool name. I'm not going to be able to pronounce it, but it's reminding me of Lagavulin, the Scotch. So, K. Lagavulin. I'm tackling Blackbird and making progress.
Heck yeah.
Cool.
Fantastic. That's a great tune. Fantastic tune.
Cool.
Awesome. Did we have one more thing? I forgot what you said.
What's your activity code?
My
Everybody wants to know.
activity code.
Yeah,
Oh.
and so how does it work, and what do they do with it once they?
So,
once
of
they
course, I appreciate you spending your time with us here today and having fun and just all the awesome small wins, all the awesome questions. And I want to give you points and a badge for being here. So what you're going to need is an activity code. And when I give you this activity code, you're going to log into the Tony's Acoustic Challenge site. You're going to click Live in the top menu. And then once you're on that live page, in the top right corner of that page, you'll see a spot where you can type in an activity code. When I give you today's activity code, type it in there, press Submit, and you'll get yourself a badge and a brand new handful of awesome points that you can add to your total. So today's activity code is no spaces, no uppercase letters, sorry. No spaces, no uppercase letters, small win. That's it. Small win.
You type that in, Noah?
SMALLWI.
Okay. Noah's typing that in.
All caps, no space.
No space, no. All lowercase.
All lowercase.
No spaces.
Small win, sir?
Small win. Singular.
Singular, not plural. Okay.
Yeah. I'm glad we had this talk.
All right, there we go. Small win. Awesome. This has been such a cool show.
Yes. Well, again, this is where I gush with thanks, and I want to spread as much Guitar Geek love as possible. Thank you for sharing your time with us today. I really appreciate you guys taking time out of your day, tuning in, asking killer questions, celebrating small wins, and just really participating in the shenanigans that happen on the TAC member live guitar party, as they always do every month. Noah and Levi, I want to thank you too as well. I won't hold anything against you guys since you're Scotch drinkers.
Thanks.
These guys, I'm lucky because we get to do this once a month, and we're pretty good friends, so I feel really grateful. So again, thank you, Levi. Thank you, Noah. Thank you guys for being guitar geeks and waving your Guitar Geek flag. Don't forget to catch Acoustic Tuesdays every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. You can catch it on Facebook or YouTube. And of course, just keep on picking and smile and have fun and play your guitar. And if you think of it, experiment with the guitar nut, saddle, and pins. I think that's a wrap, guys.
It's a wrap.
It's a
We'll
wrap.
see you next month.
Have a great rest of the day. Cheers to you, and go Bourbon. My name is Tony Policastro. I'm part of an underground group of acoustic guitar enthusiasts you've probably never heard of. We're not here to play face-melting guitar solos or judge other guitar players. Our purpose is much greater than that. For us, it's about expanding our quality of life through music and having fun with our guitar, not just mastering it. Getting better at guitar is proof that we do have what it takes to be a guitar player, which means we can build stronger bonds with friends and create lasting musical family traditions. But if you asked a guitar snob or a music academic, they would turn up their nose and say their way is better. Yet this way of seeing the guitar is changing lives every single day. We follow a specific framework and set of values that keeps us focused on what matters most: human connection, constant progress, and fun. It's happening, and we call it living the acoustic life. This is our acoustic life, and these are our stories.